Welcome back. This is the video where we answer questions people had over the course of our series on children and community. So I'm going to kick it off with our first question, and it's one that often comes up. Whether kids here are overly isolated or sheltered from the world around them, and does that hinder their development? I think the perception here is that children who grow up in community like this have no interaction with the outside world and don't know how, quote, normal people live, so they might be scared to do anything but stay within the community.
Right, I've heard that question or comment as well. And I should just say it's just not a very accurate perception, because while kids here are purposely not exposed to much popular culture beyond sports, or if they're interested in that, or the odd family movie, they are well aware of what's going on in the world around them through their parents, teachers, guests, friends, neighbors who don't live on the Bruderhof. For example, one class in the school here does a pen pal program with people from different countries around the world, which is just a wonderful chance to learn about the struggles and joys that other people experience in different cultural contexts. So really the intention is, it's not to overly protect or shelter, but it's more about providing a wholesome environment for childhood. So really, this question of isolation, it's not something I worry about. And when my kids are of age, 18 or what have you, I'll certainly be encouraging them to make their own decisions as to where best to serve humanity. And then they'll also be supported by the community in getting started wherever they choose to do that. We're really, I think, interested in positive outcomes for our children and young people. And then if they should want to become part of the community, as my wife and I are, that is obviously wonderful, but it's not at all the default option.
And I would just add to that one obvious sign that we're not completely isolated is that our schools are non-public schools, so they're open to other children coming in to join us in the educational environment. So that's been very enriching and awesome to have different students from the neighborhood and farther afield. And I also want to emphasize, we do have a lot of visitors, right, Rich? From all walks of life who will join us for a day or for a longer period. And often they'll come in and visit the school or the high school and share their life experiences with the kids. For example, one recent visitor, Steve Gumer, I hope I'm doing justice to his last name.
I think that's right.
Okay. He runs this awesome humanitarian organization called Partners Relief and Development in Myanmar and Thailand, among other places. And then I would also add that classes often go on trips to places like Washington, D.C., or New York City, or closer or further afield. So I do feel they experience a lot beyond the community. I know I certainly did. And there are also opportunities for kids to help out in our wider community, either with their families or as part of a school activity. And those are things like maybe volunteering at a local food bank or assisting with trail work. There's many examples. But we don't want to toot our own horn here.
No, we shouldn't. Yeah. Let's go to the next question. You want to do it?
Sure. So the next question, I enjoyed your depiction of communal and family life very much. Why, thank you. One thing that I didn't hear mentioned was whether individual families had pets. Would you please comment on this? Thanks and God bless. Thank you for the question. I would say the short answer to that is we have many pets, and I actually have an odd pet story. When I was a kid, my dad built a dovecote for raising doves. And is it a dovecote or a dove cage?
A dove coat, I think.
Yeah, that's like the technically correct term. What I was going to say is you think of these birds as a beautiful symbol of peace and tranquility, but we also found out that doves have this dark side. When we went out one day as kids, the little dovelings had just hatched from their eggs. And then we found out the parents had actually devoured their young. So I'm not sure if it's something we did wrong, but that was the end of our dovery. And we moved on to more traditional pets like dogs and milk cows and other animals.
That's a crazy story. Wow, I didn't know that about doves. And I just have to say also, I don't think you could really consider a milk cow a traditional pet, but
Oh, come on.
whatever. Maybe like Laurel Ingalls Wilder times.
I guess.
But yeah, you'll find a wide variety of pets in our communities. Parrots, cats, dogs, rabbits, quails, chinchillas, ferrets I've heard of, and then of course farm animals. So pet lovers are very welcome. We love animals. Okay, next question. What do you do if someone has a talent, wants to study a musical instrument, etc.? Are they supposed to hide their light under a bushel? No, I think people's talents should be celebrated. And kids here are encouraged to learn a musical instrument. My older two are learning cello and guitar. And while none of them are prodigies, there are others who are quite talented and will play in the community orchestra or perform at a communal event, which we all enjoy. Of course, you don't want people putting themselves in the center and showing off, but it's stupid, I think, if people can't use their gifts to make other people happy.
So true.
Doreen, for example, will sing these beautiful Bocelli covers with her dad, which is always a delight.
I'm not sure about the delightful part, but it is a lot of fun. Yes, we do enjoy singing from time to time, and we certainly don't hide under a bushel when we do. But here is another question. The kids are gone until 5 p.m. I am in tears. I actually believe we as mothers are supposed to teach and educate our children and show them how to love God. I would never exchange that for a community and having to work there. And there's a lot of crying emojis. And thank you for the question. I really understand where you're coming from. And I can understand why it would be difficult to consider, especially leaving younger children. But the great thing is that our communities are set up in such a way that parents are always available for their kids, even during the workday. And the mothers of very young children, infants, will care for them several times during the day. But beyond that, I actually think it's fairly normal for working parents to send their kids to school or childcare and not just exclusively be with their children. And I think here in the Bruderhof, we are very fortunate and blessed to be able to kind of integrate our work and life environment and be available for the kids at all times.
Right, and honestly, the amount of time or the amount of involvement I can have as a parent with my kids within the school is pretty cool and pretty special. I mean, anything from going in and giving a presentation on a book that I'm interested in, or on a current event thing, or being involved with a theater program. I know other parents are involved in sports stuff or whatever their interest is, art. So I think, honestly, it's not like, I'm over here in the salt mines and my kids are, with someone else. It's not like that. It's very natural and integrated. And also interestingly, in the Atlantic the other day, I don't know if you read this, there was a cool article or interview with this NPR journalist, Micheline Duclef, I think her name is. She actually spent time in a Mayan village and then also in a community of hunter-gatherers in Tanzania, along with her daughter and husband. And among many really fascinating insights she had, or whatever she observed, was this more communal approach to raising kids in these villages, in these more traditional societies, and actually how the kids were very happy in those scenarios and very, just a natural part of the broader community. In our community, that plays out in things like, to take an example from this time of year, kids might go birding with an expert birder, whereas their parent might not be able to identify too many species. I know that's the case for me.
That's a great example.
Or my sister's kids have a weekly board game night with a middle-aged couple that lives here and whose grandchildren live elsewhere. So really fun, interactive stuff. Now, of course, parents always have the primary responsibility for their own kids, but it just is the case that raising kids in a communal setting that goes beyond the nuclear family is just much more in line with how child rearing has looked for millennia. Hope that helps. Next question. You did that one. And could you please explain how sharing kitchens and bathrooms works? Does each family have a designated slot for, say, bathing their children and showering, etc., in the evenings and mornings? Thank you, from England. Yes. Every family has their own bathroom or bathrooms, so that's good. The apartments, though, are not self-contained, but designed in such a way that families do have the privacy they need. Sharing kitchens actually can be interesting in a good way. I actually find it fun to cook with other people around, but maybe you've experienced something different.
No, I agree with you, Rich. I love sharing a kitchen because you can always learn something from how other people cook and their processes. Like someone may actually have like expert skills in julienning carrots, and then they can pass on that knowledge to the younger people, and it's just a lot of fun to also dabble in different cuisines that people enjoy, and it can be really nice to work with other people and also to help them out when they're going through a difficult time or unable to cook dinner for their family or whatnot.
Right.
Sometimes I remember growing up as a kid, my mom would always encourage us to do the dishes for the other family or the neighboring family next door without their knowledge. So
that's very
that
cool.
was heartwarming always. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't seen the others in this series, please check out Raising Children in Community.
Yes, please check it out. And I would also just say at the end of this one, if you have any questions about our community, any themes you would like us to explore, please let us know in the comments and we'll try to do that in the future.